Come on. No spitting. I'll try not to.
I sucked at running it 45 minutes. No one inside.
All right. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Y'all doing okay today? You're doing good? Passion, when you tap your watch to your wife, it's your own call, but check out my new mug. Ooh, says God is good on this side, and then all the time on that side. Isn't that cool? That's homemade. Somebody on the square made it, and Charles ordered that for me, and I got that. Isn't that awesome? All right. Sorry? Where did I? On the square at Canyon, they have the farmers market thing, and so, yeah, somebody made that for me. It was really neat. I love it. All right, guys, we are in Malachi. I know that's we've been there for a while. Not actually 2 weeks ago. I appreciate. Barry stepping in last week.
I appreciate you remembering my name. Hey, I will not offer to teach class again if you keep remembering my name.
I have a lot going on in here right now. Names are not in there right now, I promise. What's that? What? Fourth cup. We're doing great. Trust me. And I don't eat breakfast usually, and so that much caffeine doesn't do really good for me. I get a little antsy when I get up to preach. All right. Hey, there are some things going on, and I'll make mention of that now. And you're going to be able to help me on this, Miss Willie. There is a women's ministry. What is it called?
We're going to have a kickoff event.
Kickoff event.
Yes. There's going to be food and fellowship, and we're going to play some games. And the goal of it is to kind of get women together and kind of get organized and spend some lady time together.
Okay, so that is not for guys. Do not show up, Barry. All right?
And really, it's for women 18 plus. So
18 plus.
Yeah.
Women of 18 plus.
Yeah. So
Age.
yeah.
Nobody picked up on it. Okay. All right. Okay, so if you're 18 and older, so what is it called though? It's a women's ministry kickoff event.
Yeah.
So that is in October?
Yes. The 16th.
The 16th.
Thursday. There is childcare provided.
Childcare provided.
If you need it, text
Guys,
me.
let them take your kids, right? Free night. Free night. Just let them know. Okay, that's awesome.
There will be a hunting party at the same time.
Hey, man, Okay, yeah. So that is October the 16th, Thursday. So ladies, make sure you do that. I'll have an announcement right before my lesson this morning for you guys to see that too. Okay, so please put that on your calendar, be a part of that. I'm hearing a lot of ideas flying around, and I'm really excited about what is going to be happening at this congregation. Love it. Love what's going on. All right, so we looked at, we need to get into this a little bit because I want to cover two different things today. We looked at the book of Malachi 2 weeks ago, and I know that it has taken some time, and I know it's hard to come back to a subject, but we went through the 6 different real major lessons that we found within the book. And today, I just want to know, what did you see in the book of Malachi? Some of the lessons that you saw. It's only 4 chapters. Yeah, because the last of it is really talking about the day of the Lord, which is really good. But there's 4 chapters. But what did you see in the book? What did you pull out of it? And then I really want to look at today. Then I want to get into chapter 3 with you a little bit more. And kind of dive into that a little bit. And he gives us a great hope for the future, the day of the Lord that is coming. We know that's Jesus coming and the Messiah is coming in chapter 4. So I'll start with what have you learned briefly, then we'll get into chapter 3. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what have you learned in the minor prophets as a whole, because this is our last class for minor prophets. Joseph.
Going back to Malachi 3:3, where it talks about being a refiner of silver. If you look further into the process of refining silver, it gets put into a crucible, put into the hottest part of the fire. And generally, they'll sit there, especially back at the times of Malachi, and they would put this silver into the hottest part of their furnace, and they would let it sit there and continue to boil. And they had to sit there and watch it because they couldn't walk off where it burned. But they knew that all of the impurities were out of it whenever they could see their own face in it. They could see their image in it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting going back to when God created us. He says that he created man in his image.
Good.
The other side of it is if you look for other areas of being refined by God, you can go to Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, just man should sharpen man just as iron sharpens iron. And pretty much any of the other verses that you look up, there is Isaiah 48:10, which does another, says, see, I have refined you through, though not as silver, I have tested you in the furnace of affliction.
Yeah.
Anytime you look at a refinement of us, for us to get better, it's not an easy process.
No.
It's not going to be nice and happy. I think too many times, I know I have, you get kind of complacent thinking, well, God's going to come and he's going to make my life better, and it's just going to be an easy process. But
And it's, yeah, and I like that. The refining process of you becoming one person to another from the inside out is a very difficult process. The superintendent in Bovina was, Sally worked with him. He was the principal where Sally was in Bowie. And so they were very close and they worked really well together. But he actually makes knives, homemade knives, and he takes it from other, maybe a plow, a disc, or other pieces of metal. They have to be very specific kind of metal. But he would take stuff that was like, I don't know what it was, but it was something that you used before, and then he took it and he makes these incredible knives. The knife that I have from him, I'm actually gonna go back and get some more. It's the best meat knife I've ever used. You know, I could go to the store and get the Ninja 5000 or whatever you wanna call those, but I'll take this knife that's pitted, that you can't wash it with water. You gotta put oil on it afterwards because it can rust. But it is the best knife if I want to cut a rib or cut some meat. I mean, like butter. But I watch his videos, and he demonstrates how he takes something from, this is what it looked like, and he shows you the process of where it came, what it turns into. And it was mean, it was ugly, it got heated, it got pounded, it got shaped. And you kind of, if you try to put yourself in the, as dumb as this sounds, into that piece of metal, probably didn't want to go through that process, right? I don't want to get hammered. I don't want to get shaped. But by the end, the process, they were like, wow, look what you made me into. I'm doing something again. I have purpose again. And God really shows us through that refining. Yeah. And so Malachi does a really good job. And, you know, you also talk about, you know, you go to James chapter 1, right? Count it all joy when you go through various trials and temptations and such trials, you know, and then he says you're going to build all those things up. And, you know, how do you find joy? Well, we'll talk about that. We've actually talked about that all the way through Philippians, right? Finding joy. We'll talk about it again today. Good stuff. Anything else from Malachi that you like? Good lesson.
When we talked about sacrifices a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
I think two things stand out, at least for me personally, because it talked about, you know, why do you bring me basically your trash? You know?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how it's really about trust, because sometimes we hold back because we're like, I think I might need that later. And do we really trust that God's going to provide for us if we give up everything?
Yeah.
Or give up our best?
Yeah. Good.
And then also a perfect sacrifice, you know, God didn't sacrifice something imperfect. He gave us Jesus, who is an unblemished lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And so why should we sacrifice it? That's supposed to mold our thinking into what that's all about. Why would God ask anything less of us than he's willing to do?
Absolutely. Good stuff. And you're probably coming out of chapter 2 there, when he's really hammering down on the people and on the priests of offering blemished, wounded. You know, he's like, hey, you know what the law teaches, right? Just for curiosity, when is Malachi written? Can we jump there real fast. When is Malachi written? Do you guys remember? Yeah, about 430. So you got to remember, this is after Babylonian captivity. The people have already come back. Nehemiah has already come back, rebuilt the walls, rebuilt the temple as much as it's going to be. This is like 100 years after all of that. So we're gone from very energetic, really excited with Nehemiah. Then we're kind of coming out of that. And now we're kind of like back into our lull with God. And that happens really easily, right? And it's also a process of going back into a lull. So we could get excited really like over here, and then, I always saw it in my youth ministry. You know when my kids were really, really excited? When? Church camp, woohoo! Right? And they come back and like, man, we're on fire! And that was it. Yeah? September came, school started, sports started, activities started. We went fast and faster and faster to get everything done. And guess what? God was left in the dust. And I asked my kids I remember one time, it was about November, and they're just like trying to get through the grind. And I'm like, what happened to the fire? What happened over here? And they were like, well, God was there. That should wake you up, church. Right? That one hurt. All right. What else did you find? I love it. You guys are doing really good.
You talked about everything pointing to Christ, and how can we start anywhere in the minor prophets and get to Christ.
Yeah.
We're talking about, how they've taken this opportunity, this pathway that God has given them for forgiveness. And we have the benefit of the New Testament. They didn't have that, I understand that, but God knowing, like, hey, I've given you this pathway, and you've tainted it and used it to cull your herds instead of offer me your best, and knowing God knows what's going to happen. He knows that he's going to send his son. That's got to hurt him deeply, knowing that all I'm asking is for a goat. I'm going to send my son, and all I'm asking you is for a goat.
A nice one.
Enough for a goat. But it's just kind of put me in check. Man, what have I been doing that's hurtful? And then, the same thing with marriage, that they have broken those covenants. God's like, Christ is going to be the bride of the church, and you can't even treat your human bride.
So we have the benefit of Ephesians, right? We're going to be able to make those connections. They don't fully understand that, but they understand covenant. You know what I mean? And they're like, you're breaking your covenants. Giving your best, I think both of you were just right on the money. What are we giving ourselves? Not even just of our material goods, but of our hearts, of our time, of our energy. What are we giving to God fully? Are we giving him the leftover trash? One of the things that, I don't know if I should say this. I know. One of the problems that Sally and I had in the beginning of our marriage was Sally got the leftovers. Okay? I was a parent before we got married. I was a single parent, right? And so then I was a youth minister. Within my youth ministry, I had a lot of other things that were over us, such as like everything. And I remember the conversation. She just I felt like I got the leftovers. Well, the one person that doesn't get leftovers, but are supposed to be served first is who? Well, my wife. But I was so focused on what I was trying to accomplish in my life and what everybody else needed of me, I forgot the most important thing. I think that happens in our spiritual life as well, that God says, I'm supposed to be the first fruits. I'm not supposed to get the bruised fruits, right? And so I had to make those corrections in our marriage, and I had to make those corrections in my spiritual life as well. I'll tell you what, Malachi really hits me between the eyes because he talks about divorce, right? Why do you think it hurts me so much? Because I'm divorced. If you don't know that, I'm divorced. And I understand a broken covenant. I understand who it affects. It's not just the husband and the wife, but it also affects the children. It affects the people around you. It affected my ministry. And it's one of those things that we have to come to understand that our covenant agreement is important. What was going on then in the book of Malachi, they have come out of Babylon. They've come to this new place. And what they were doing is divorcing their wives of their youth because they found something better. That's the whole point. You found something better, so you married this better version of what you think you want, and you discarded what was behind you. And he was like, This is not acceptable. I'm not getting into the whole divorce thing. We can go to what Jesus talks about of when a divorce can happen because of marital unfaithfulness, and we can go down that road and talk about it. But I hope it does open our eyes to our relationships and how important our covenant agreement is between our husband and wife, and how we need to nurture it in such a great way. Okay? It means a lot. Go.
Sorry, Casey. You know, you and Chance talked about that a little bit on your, I don't know if it was the last podcast or the podcast before, about marrying, about whether or not you should marry, or, and
Yeah.
that the fact that it's better if you don't, if you can serve them. So that, and you guys had a hard time talking about it, just like I would have a hard time talking about it, because most of us get married and you're telling me I can't give my best to God if I'm married. I know that's not what you said. I know, I mean, you guys stumbled through, I mean that nicely.
Hey, man, I don't remember your name, so you can say whatever you want.
At least I can talk about you, John. I mean, it is hard.
It is hard. The whole subject is hard, right? And it is difficult, you know. And yeah, going back to what we were talking about, you know, Paul is talking to some of the church there. He's like, hey, if you can remain married, you can be more focused on God, right? There's no other distractions. Like, I don't have to take care of her. I don't have to take care of probably children involved, because there's more of a focus. But it's really hard, you know, really hard. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I love this book, but especially chapter 3, verses 5 and 6.
Okay.
It talks about, I, the Lord, do not change. Therefore, you, the sons of Jacob, have not come to an end.
Yeah.
From the days of your fathers, you've turned away from my statutes and have not kept them. Return to me, and I will return to you, says the Lord of armies. And, you know, those of us that seek God in our lives, or, you know, going through trials in our lives or whatever, and we wonder, you know, what do I need to do to get God, or to help, for God to intervene, or how do I seek out His help? And this, to me, is the number one thing. We have to seek Him.
Mm-hmm.
If we seek Him, then He will be in our lives. It's just a very powerful statement.
Absolutely. Anything else?
I think that's an interesting point, but I got into reading Exodus as I was kind of doing some searching on this, and I got back into Moses being up on top of the mountain, and God was talking about Aaron was going to be this great leader, while he was down taking the gold and creating the calf as an idol. And whenever Moses came down, Moses asked him, says, well, where did this come from? He's like, well, we put it in the fire and it just made itself. He lied about it, and God was ready to wipe him out. Moses asked him, says, well, hold on, let's give him another shot. And God did, and whenever they returned to God, so God returned to them. And He created Aaron as the leader that he was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. From your knowledge, we're going to get into this other part I want to look at with you. From your knowledge, what is God calling us to do? And I think a lot of it, you've already said it. One, you know, being, number one is like giving everything to Him, heart, soul, and mind. What is the first and greatest commandment? It comes from the Old Testament. Jesus quotes it. Go ahead. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And, you know, we're supposed to give Him the best of the best. When I was looking at the priests, because you look back in chapter 2 and you see what they're doing wrong, and you guys have talked about that. But then he says, hey, there's something that I want you to look at. Look at Malachi chapter 2. We'll start there first. And this is what I want. My covenant, this is Malachi chapter 2. I want to look at verses 5 through 7 really quick here. My covenant with Him, the one of life and peace, I gave them to Him. It was a covenant of fear, and He feared me. He stood in awe of my name. True instruction was in His mouth, and no wrong was found in His lips. He walked with me in peace and uprightness, and He turned many from iniquity. What does God, I know that there's double meaning in all of this, but I try to look at how does this work in my life, and how does this apply to my life, okay? What are you looking at? What is He trying to tell us? What are we supposed to be doing as we are His holy priesthood today, right? We represent him. We are his spokesman as we walk and as we talk in our life. So what is he trying to teach us here? So a covenant is given to you, okay? We believe that, we know that. Covenant has been given to us, a covenant through who? Jesus Christ. He goes, okay, there's a new covenant that we're a part of. Through him, we have the cleansing of our sins. We have the gift of the Holy Spirit. We have all of those amazing blessings that he intercedes for us. We can talk about all those. But then he goes in verse 6, what does he say right at the beginning? You might have a different version, but what does it say at the very beginning? Huh?
The law of truth.
The law of truth. That's what it says first? Okay. True. Yeah. Law of truth. True instruction was in his mouth.
Yes.
Okay. What are you supposed to be doing? What are we supposed to be doing? Teaching. Teaching. We're supposed to be teaching. We're supposed to be talking to others about this. We have the greatest message that man has ever heard inside of us. Remember the whole part of you can tell me which one it is. It's Corinthians, but he's talking about how we are jars of clay, but the greatest message is inside of that. We talked about one Sunday night, a little while back. And we have this incredible message. It's not the messenger, because I'm just a jar of clay, right? And it says in there, the light that he created is now inside of us. And so this is the light that we're giving to others. We have an incredible message that we're supposed to be giving. He goes, teach the instruction. Because everything that you've been talking about of what the people have been doing then and what we are doing today is going down our own path. What does it say in the book of Judges? Everybody did what? In their what? Did right what was in their own eyes. And that is mankind. We are going to do right in our own eyes, and we're going to follow our desires and our passions. That's all there is to it. And he says we have the opportunity to have instruction coming back to God's word, and we're supposed to share.
That makes me think of like a covenant as a living, breathing thing. I think we think of, even our marriage covenant is like a piece of paper or
Yeah.
a vow or whatever, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all, our covenant, God's covenant with his people, our covenant with our spouse, all of it is, you don't just get it and then sit there and say, I have this covenant. It's a moving target.
I like what you said in the beginning. It's living. It's living, it's breathing, it's growing, right? That's why I don't say I made a promise to my wife, right? Because I think about Mary Poppins. What does she say about promises? Pie crust promises, right? We do those all the time, right? Come on, you don't remember Mary Poppins? Does anybody in the young group over there know Mary Poppins? Eminem, do you all know Mary Poppins? You watched it? You did the 30-second clips, haven't you? You're like, oh, I like that. All right. So Mary Poppins says that. She's like, hey, you make a promise. Hey, that's a pie crust promise. Well, my marriage isn't a pie crust promise, right? Because whatever is better comes along, okay, I'll make a promise to that. It's a covenant, and it's alive. It's something that I'm working towards. It's something a part of me. The growth. There's difficulties, there's all those things, but it makes you stronger. It's a covenant. Okay, it's good. Anything else there? Okay, good job. Good stuff. Good stuff. I want to go on to the priests are supposed to live in harmony. And that's what I've also found, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today in the lesson, so I really don't want to sit there too long. But they're supposed to live in harmony with God's word, and when you're living in harmony with that, you're also living in harmony with others. Why is that so important for us to learn?
If you have one bad leader that's not living in harmony, it can corrupt the entire lot and throw it into chaos.
Okay, good. Yeah, the leader, or even a little bit of yeast. You may not have to be, I'll be honest with you, we can take care of the leaders. It's the stuff in the background that can destroy your foundation. Let's go ahead and be honest, right? That little yeast, you don't even know about who it is. It's in the bread, and it changes the whole thing. But you're right. I agree with you, Jay, too. I'm with you.
I'm not a music person, so these two here may say I'm wrong. But
don't do it.
When you think about harmony is not the same note. Harmony are different notes that go together, and they complement each other. And we have to realize that living in harmony doesn't mean we all necessarily agree with everything all the time. but it's that we work together to make something that's beautiful.
You good? Was she close?
He's analyzing his case.
He's thinking, for sure. No, I really like that. Yeah, absolutely.
They need to remember that it's God's words and not theirs.
There you go. It's God's words.
I'm
Good.
sure, they had a lot of, people respected them a lot, and it'd be very easy to start to believe your own hype.
Good. Yeah, all based upon God. Good. Really good. And, another thing that I really like, many have turned away from sin. I love that part of this verse as well. For me, if I'm going to be this priest that God calls me to be, I want to have a little bit of zeal to tell somebody too, right? What did it say? Paul talks about his zeal. He goes, at one time it was persecuting the church, but what now? We've already talked about it in our sermons on Philippians. Come on. Had zeal for persecuting the church, but now that zeal has changed, right? Zeal is understanding what you're talking about and being very focused upon that. And I want that as well, okay? The book is fantastic. There's so much stuff in there. The last of it, when you look at it, is talking about the day of the Lord. This is actually found all the way through most of all of the, what do you call it? All the other prophets that we've looked at has the day of the Lord. They talk about it and they're saying, hey, look to the future. Look to the future because the Messiah is coming, and there's going to be a gap of about, we think about 400 years, and then Christ is going to come onto the scene. But man, we're also looking to the future as well, right? We're living in such a way so that our future is also going to be taken care of in the future when Christ comes back and takes us home, right? And so that day of the Lord is still for us, and he's going to come back and take us home. So we're supposed to live a certain way. All right, I want to give you guys a few minutes now. A general, not Malachi, whatever you want to pull out of any of the many books that we have studied. What have you learned? What do you want to talk about? And we can go from there. Please don't make a generality. If you can kind of tell us book, chapter, verse, or at least book that you're pulling out of, we would like to go look at that passage with you. But what is there? Is there something that you just really like that you honed in on during our study of the minor prophets?
I know you said don't be general, but just throughout the whole study of the minor prophets, I saw so much of what we're living today. I mean, we connected so much to what was written in the minor prophets because we see it happening in our world today.
Oh, yeah. Nothing's changed. Well, how does Solomon put it? Nothing is what? There's nothing new under the sun. I mean, from the book of Genesis to what Jesus goes through in his temptation and what John says in his book, it's identical what Satan tries to get us on, right? Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and pride of life. Everything falls into these categories. Nothing is new. How we think, and when we look at today and we say, oh, it's so horrible. Well, some of you lived through the 60s. Was it a piece of cake then? Does anybody remember the 60s? No, seriously, I'm asking the question. Jay? How old were you, though? Were you like 2?
No, I was at least 6, 5, 6, way up there.
Way up there. Anybody else? How old were you in the 60s? I'm looking at you. Yeah.
Born in 62.
You were born in 62? Okay, that doesn't work anymore. Okay. 70s weren't that bad, or weren't that great either. Woo! Your color schemes and your clothes were horrible, right? Oh, orange, olive green, you're killing me. Okay, and they're all coming back. It's crazy.
The hair was the worst.
What was it?
The hair was the worst.
Well, hey, were you dressed up as a little sailor, though, going to church? I was. Good night. All right, sorry, that was low 80s. Okay. And I promise you, I never wanted to be in the Navy. I never had a gumption. Like, me on boat, mommy, me on boat. Yeah, so from away from the color schemes and such, What we're trying to talk about is the sin that was back then is the same sin that we're dealing with today, right? You may just know about it a little bit more through social media. You may not understand what's going on in it, but the same sins are there, right? We can go back and we can look at those things. And actually what was established there is some of the repercussions that we're feeling today, right? That we're having. But if you look back and you read Solomon's writings, you read Paul's writings in 1 Corinthians, I mean, they're dealing with exactly the same sins that we're dealing with today. It's never gone away. It's not getting worse. Okay? Okay, good stuff. Anything else? Come on, give me.
I like the fact that there was always forgiveness offered, restoration. There was always a chance. There was always that push from God to try to restore his people. I mean, that's, you know, because of who we are, we need that.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we still have that opportunity.
I love it. Hey, find me something. Find me a passage talking about restoration. Bringing you back. Whatever you want to do. Find me a passage. This is really good. I don't care what book.
I
Huh?
was supposed to do Jonah 1 to...
No, Jonah me.
Jonah 1.
All right.
I was looking at that just because following God can be scary, and sometimes you don't want to trust in God.
Okay, hey, let me pin that. Let me come back. I got to talk about restoration really quick. I think you can probably get there with Jonah, but I'm going to find something else here.
Hosea 2:23.
Who?
Hosea 2:23.
Hosea is good. Go.
That's when he comes in and says, "And I will set for yourself no mercy in the land, and I will have mercy on no mercy, and I will say to not my people, you are my people, and he shall say, you are my God."
I love it. So remember what happens in the beginning of Hosea, right? Broken covenant. Hosea, go get you a prostitute. We're going to have kids, really badly named kids, right? And then what happens? She goes back to her old life. And then he says, I want you to go back and buy her back. Remember, though, that's super important. Buy her back. What does that mean? That's reconciliation. That's got to be lessons that got to be coming, because there's 3 different words in the New Testament with reconciliation. We're going to look at those. But that part of it is being bought back. All right? Go buy her back. Become a wife again. All right? A new covenant. And he goes back, he goes, even though that's what it's going to, we break our covenant with God. We go back to our life of sin. God will buy us back through Jesus Christ, of course. And then also there's reconciliation. It's incredible that our God does that, because that's not how we are. You hurt me, I might get through it one time. You hurt me twice, you can count this goodbye. Right? We're done. Right? We have a saying for that. Get me once, shame on me. Get me twice, shame on you. And we kind of take it to another level. Okay, that's really good. Give me another verse, though. I want another one.
About the restoration at the end of Amos.
Amos, good.
Amos chapter 9. Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when the plowman shall overtake the reaper and the treader of grapes, and who sows the seed, and the mountain shall drip sweet wine, and all the hills shall flow with it. I will restore the fortunes of my people, and they shall rebuild the good cities and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and drink their wine, and they shall make gardens and eat their fruit. I will plant them on their land, and they shall never be uprooted again out of the land I have given them, says the Lord. I just like that because it's like it's taking something that was and making it something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to be gone into captivity. They're going to come back. And when you look at that, you're like, man, you're going to lose everything. But he goes, no. I'm going to restore it. And come back, we're going to restore. You're going to have these things. Okay? Really good stuff. Really good stuff.
I have Hosea 4,
Okay.
6 through 9. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have rejected knowledge, I also reject you as my priest, because you have ignored the laws of your God. I will also ignore your children. The more priests there were, the more they sinned against me. They exchanged their glorious God for something disgraceful. They fed the sins of my people and relished their weakness. And it will be like people, like priests. I will punish both of them for their ways and repay them for their deeds.
Covered a lot of material there. The one thing that when I talk to people, and they're in a season of their life, they want to find God. They're trying to find the answer, and you introduce it to them, and they said everything's going to be great now. Well, here's the deal: are there consequences to the actions and the choices that you make? Answer is yes. God shows that all the way through the Judges. It goes all the way through minor prophets, major prophets, even into the New Testament. Can you give me one example in the New Testament that there is consequences for a decision somebody made?
Ananias, Sapphira.
Yeah, that was the one that kind of came to my mind as well. You know, Acts chapter,
5, 7.
hold on, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, great sermon, nope. Sorry, that's how I remember Acts. Another apostle shows at the beginning of the church. That's not them. Find it really quick. But yeah, Ananias and Sapphira, they lie and they die for it. Oof, it's just a lie, man. Relax. Consequences, right? So what you find all the way through the Old Testament and New Testament, there are consequences, but here's the hope. Yes, and sometimes you have to work through those consequences with that person because it's the actions that they have made, but there's hope on the other side, right? If you come, you can be transformed into a new creation. You can transform your mind because you're not going to conform anymore to this world, but there's a transformation that we can have, and we can get there, and we can get there together with the help of God. Are you with me? And so a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have to worry about the consequences, but you know what? There are consequences, but there's hope on the other side. Anything else you guys want to pull out?
I just want to say, I read that because of the very first, because you've rejected knowledge. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing, and we don't need to go through life with a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
We need complete knowledge.
That's good. Truth. Yeah, complete knowledge. Love it. Love it.
Back on the consequences, even after you've restored or come back to God, your consequences still ripple through. So sometimes we think, okay, wait a minute, I changed. Well, that still happened in the past, and your consequences are still, they can have a ripple effect.
It can. It can. Yeah, there's a lot of, we can talk about that a lot, right? You know, if I was tempted in a certain way and that's why I fell away from God, my temptation is probably still there, but the question is, how do I combat it? It gets stronger through God, right? So yeah, I can see the consequences. Sometimes it ripples. Anything else that you guys learned? Restoration is there, absolutely. Anything else you learned from it?
A lot of people will talk about like that don't know their Bible very well, or that just are a lot of times new in their faith. They'll talk about how different God is in like the Old and New Testament. Like God, the Old Testament is so like mean and wrathful and just wants to kill everybody and stuff. But then like you read this stuff, and like there's just constantly he's like allowing Israel to like turn around, and giving him so many chances over and over again, so much forgiveness. And then like you said, there's so consequences and stuff in the New Testament. And then God specifically talks about he doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. You know? And
Good
that's
stuff.
like a lot of people just don't see that, but
Yeah, good stuff. All right, we're going to shut it down because we only have 5. I heard first bell. Is that correct? First bell. Okay. What do you want? What do you want in October, November? I have ideas, but I'm going to keep them inside. Do you want me to study something with you guys? October, November, December. In January, I'm hoping to go through Old Testament stuff. I'm going to go back. So if you guys want something else, October, November, December, what would you like? Or I can do a couple mini things together.
I'm curious about the ABCs you just
A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. It's a great song. So, okay, that's how I learned the book of Acts. You just put a letter to the chapter. So A is another apostle chosen. Ascension of Jesus into heaven, another apostle chosen. B is beginning of the church. C is cripple cured. Disciples attained, dedicated first to God. And you go through the whole book and you put a letter to it. Yeah. We can do that. Huh?
Biblical interpretation.
Oh, come on. 3 months? In 3 months, Mark? No, it's really good stuff. In what way are you talking about? Just how to interpret the Bible?
Yeah, exegetical work, how to look at the scripture as a whole book, and then...
So looking at it from like, sometimes it's written in poetry, sometimes it's in wisdom literature, and breaking it down those ways?
genre interpretation, but those sorts of things, how to interpret a document.
Okay. Good suggestion. Anybody else? So you know everything, huh?
Apocalyptic.
Oh my goodness, Mark. I am not doing apocalyptic.
Are you looking for books or subjects? Zechariah 12, 13, and 14?
Say that again. I'm sorry, Mark. I couldn't hear you.
Zechariah 12, 13, and 14 are apocalyptic. You don't interpret that the same way as you would interpret...
Absolutely, yeah. The way we look at certain things, yeah, we need to interpret them the same way and understand how they are written. Justin?
Are you looking for books or subjects?
Yes. What? Romans? Okay. Have I done that recently?
Revelations.
Oh. Done. Ready? We win. I know people just love looking at that book. Casey, man, I love you, buddy. But we can get so tied up, and then everybody has an interpretation of it, then it just turns into debates. I mean, yeah, we can. I'd love to do it sometime, but I'm going to have more time to study it. 2 weeks is not going to help me get ready for it.
Who's teaching next week?
He is.
What is his name?
Andrew.
Thanks a lot.
I don't even know their names. I call them Eminem. All right. All right. Oh, what's that?
A, B.
I'm trying to think of an acronym how to make this work really well, but I don't have one. All right. All right, I'll put my mind on it. If you have any more suggestions, let me know, and then I'll figure out what we'll do. Okay. So those 3 months, we may do a couple of small things together. I've got a couple ideas for that. All right. Appreciate you guys. Love you.